G'day, DeeBrief faithful. It's Naughtsie here on a Wednesday, not a Thursday, mixing it up this week. Not in the studio. There's a baby on the way in my household. So joining us is former Eagles premiership man, now running BackChat Studios. He's on Fox Footy, and lo and behold, he's back on the DeeBrief again. Will Schofield, welcome.
I had such a good time last time that I had to come back, Adrian. So we're back, mate, and I've brought Andrew with me. RIP Andy. I've actually got his fucking helmet here somewhere. Here it is. There we go. Maybe I should be wearing. I might do the. Can I just do the whole podcast with this on? Is that all right?
Sure,
Right.
sure. Absolutely go for it. Also, you mean Angus. I know you've had a big day.
Oh fucking hell!
That's
Fuck me.
it's okay. We know you've had a big day.
How am I fucking going? I might, mate. This helmet. Seriously, I might actually need to wear this during the fucking day. I've been calling him Andy.
Yeah.
Angus Brayshaw.
Angus Brayshaw.
So
That's
live and
right.
breathe. Okay. All
And
right. We're
Angus,
good now. We're good
Angus
now.
is here as well. There you go.
So it's good to see. So all the Demons fans will be just going, this complete fuckwit has just called Angus Brayshaw. Andy, I
No,
apologise to everybody.
no, it's okay. We love the Brayshaws. We love Andy. We have no semblance of hatred for Fremantle. So we love the way that he goes about it. So it's absolutely fine. We love Hammer as well, who's on BackChat with you. He's fantastic. And Angus, I don't know if you know, but Angus was and still is, he's my favourite D. So I've
Right.
only got number 10, Schoey. So for him to bow out of the game is
Right.
it's bittersweet for me. So I think this is beautiful. So we'll plow on. Now,
Love
mate,
it.
you're back, but I've got a bone to pick with you.
Oh no.
I've
What
got a
have I
bone
done?
to pick with you. Ever
What have I
since
done?
we had you on, what fucking happened to my football club? What happened?
I have been watching. Don't worry, I have been watching.
We've fallen in a heap since we had you on the first time.
I'm not laughing at you, but I might have given it a little kiss of death too. Like you did ask like what I thought, and I thought building blocks seem sound, midfield coming back, Gorn's a leader.
Yeah.
I don't know, Cozzy's got, bit of how are you about him? Your backline's solid. Like you're good. You could be great. You could be back to great.
It's like a weird voodoo thing. So I think the reason why I've brought you back is because I want to close the loop.
Okay.
So if you were the bad juju
Yes.
and I've brought you back, I'm hoping that now we can just put it all to an end and Melbourne can get on a run and maybe make finals at the end of the season. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I didn't realize in your voodoo trick that it would have Christian Petrarca doing his spleen and fracturing his ribs. That was a bit harsh on you in your voodoo trick to do that.
And well, I mean, and Jake Lever as well, right? Like I took him out too. Had a chat to the witch doctor, and I thought, look, if I'm going to take a mid out, I better take, your best role playing backman out too. Yeah. Look, mate,
You've done a bit to a Schoey. You've
I
heard
don't, I don't know what to say other than I'm sorry, and I'd like to sort of resurrect. I don't know, the faith that anyone at Melbourne had for me, and then also your football club. Maybe we can do that. Can I ask you whether you think this is possible? Like, do you think you can play finals? Do you think that's a possibility?
I genuinely do. I want to save it for the end, but
Okay.
I genuinely do just because they've restored a tiny, weeny little bit of my faith in that performance on Friday against Brisbane. But we'll
Okay.
get to that in a little bit of detail.
Yes.
Where am I going to start? Do you know what? I'm actually going to start with the Eagles. So,
Okay.
what in the God's name? What the fuck was last week? So, you were on the commentary. I'm going to read out some numbers. These are wild. So, last week against the Hawks, 426 disposals to Hawthorn. The Eagles, a paltry 278.
Sickening.
Then we go to inside 50s, plus 27. Eagles only had 33. Plus 17 clearances, and this is where it gets worse. Center clearances, 4 to 14, and then marks inside 50, which was a funny stat at one point because I don't think Eagles took a mark
Yeah.
inside 50 until the third quarter or halfway through, or even in the fourth quarter, Scully. But marks inside 50, only 4 to the Eagles and 22 to the Hawks. It was a demolition. They were putrid, and they played their grand final against us. when you came on last time. And I'm really hoping that they don't turn up against us this week. But what the fuck was that from the Eagles? That was pitiful.
Mate, it was difficult to call, and not from the sense like hopefully I put myself across as someone that doesn't really care if West Coast wins or loses. Yeah, like I always have a soft spot clearly, but I'm certainly not aligning myself to the West Coast Eagles. Like at the moment, I'm a GWS man, I'm a Hawks man, more so Hawks, given that GWS are playing like shit. So I'm definitely a Hawks man at the moment. And I just call it was just negative. It was so negative. Like West Coast got their pants pulled down across the board. Barris and McGovern were probably the only two to be like, well, like they're having a crack, and the rest of them, mate, were just dismal. So unfortunately, I don't think that's good for you blokes though, because
Ooh.
like the pressure cooker over here has risen. Like the reason I was so rattled when I came on, one, I cancelled it earlier in the day. Two, jumped off Fox Footy straight away, and I just dropped about 15 minutes on Adam Simpson, whether he should keep his job, what and over here, mate, like it is proper like boiling point. People are ringing talk back, teeing off. I was on talk back last night. People just absolutely teeing off. Yeah, people want blood, and like whether that's the players or the coaches, I don't know. But I just don't think that's a good spot to get a club playing against you.
I couldn't agree more. And that's what I'm worried about, that they'll treat this one as their second grand final in season 2024. So no back pages with Boss Baby this week, Harley Reid. No back pages with him. Are they just going at Timo? What have they been doing in the West?
What have been happening? So I haven't seen the back page for a bit, which says it's probably not Harley Reid, but like they're doing the forlorn pictures of players coming off the ground, where to now, how long Simo got left, all that stuff. And if it builds up, I think that can turn into it'll just turn into a shit show, and the club will just go to absolutely nowhere. But for like a week or two, you'll see a rebound. Like you'll see a bounce back, and we're playing for Simo and we're playing for the jumper and all this bullshit, right? Which clearly they're not. But yeah, poor. I would say poor timing for the Demons. I still think Melbourne wins this game coming up. Just for the record, like you boys win, but it's not good to have had them off the back of this performance. You'll have to start well.
Yeah, and I was
Sorry, this helmet's hurting my fucking head.
Oh no, we'll take it off. That's okay. We love you, Angus.
That's irony. The helmet's hurting my head.
Yeah, not Andrew. So, just on the Eagles last week, and I can't believe I did this, but I was at a first birthday. God, we love first birthdays, don't we?
Yeah.
And I got talked into changing my tip. I got talked into it by a West Coast fan.
You picked West Coast.
I got talked into it. So I'm a couple behind the leader at work, and I'm like, fuck, I've got to risk it for the biscuit, right?
Right.
And the one risk that I wanted to take, and I didn't do it because I was a wimp, was
Freo.
No, I thought Freo for a little bit because I know they got the Swans at the SCG last year.
Yep.
The one I really wanted to do, and I didn't ended up doing it, was freaking GWS and the Crows. So I had a good vibe about the Crows. Didn't do it. Anyway, so I've missed that one, and then I'm desperate and I'm reaching and I'm chasing. And I tipped West Coast off the back of this Eagles supporters' comments to me at this first birthday. And the reason why, Schoey, he's going, mate, we've got the best team we've had in ages. We've got the best team that we've had for a long, long time. Oscar Allen's just back from injury. We're looking good. We're looking settled. We put up a good fight against Essendon, and I just fully bought into it. So does that make last week's loss and all those numbers that I went through before, does that just make it even more insipid?
Yeah, I actually think that's the issue. The issue is West Coast fans had high expectations going on the weekend. Like they thought, all right, best team in, no one really missing. Like Elijah Hewitt was out, Noah Long was out. Other than that, they didn't have anyone really missing. So expectations were high, which is not a good idea because West Coast are no good. Like West Coast fans are going to remind themselves that West Coast are a shit team. And they're a year and a half into a rebuild, not 4 years into a rebuild. Like I don't know. I think like Harley Reid is just like everyone's just lost their shit a little bit, and then it was reality. Hawthorn's a really good side. Like I watching them play live, like they're a proper good side. I don't know. Have you boys played them recently? I should know that. But.
We were really lucky. So we got them early in the season. So we got them, I think it was third round in. So
Yes.
we got them at the perfect time that you could have ever wanted to get them. And we did a number on
Yes.
them. If we played them now, guarantee they would beat us by 3, 4, 5 goals.
Yeah, I just think I think there was a perfect storm of expectation versus reality versus a good side, and then it's just turned into a shit show. So they're going to have to respond this week.
Oh, God, I don't like hearing that. I don't like hearing that. Jake Waterman, there are a few links last night to Jake. Some people saying Jake flash in the pan this year, maybe. Don't know if he's a legit player. I don't want to speak about the speculation. I want to speak about the player. Do you believe in his hype and do you rate him?
So he's linked to you boys, right?
Apparently. Not
I mean,
gonna.
you do need a key forward.
I know.
To
We're very aware, by the way.
but Van Rooyen's going to be that guy. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
he's close to already that guy. Like, he's going to be a good player. Is Jake Waterman a good player? Like, short answer, yes. He actually hasn't changed too much this year to what, like, even when I was at the footy club, like, I used to play on Jake a bit. He's fit. He's a worker. Like, he works his ass off. He's always been that guy. Like, always been a high time trial, like, top 5 type guy. And what he's done this year is, like, last year he averaged 0.3 contested marks a game, and this year it's 3.2 or something. Like, he's taken the most contested marks in the AFL per game. That's the difference. So you think about key forwards. If you're suddenly taking 3 pack marks and say they're all like goal kicking positions, like, there's a chance for 3 goals a game that he didn't have last year. And he's always been the best kick at goal at the footy club. He's got a up and down set shot that just, like, never looks like missing unless he's trying to get a bit of distance on it. So I really rate him, always have. He's just missed, like, the it factor probably from his game. So couple that with being, like, the man a little bit, with no Oscar Allen around and Jack Darling aging, like, he's taken the step. But a lot of people have been like, well, where's he come from? Like, he's kind of always had that. And I think put him in a forward line with a really good midfield in front of him, Demons, and somewhere where he's the man, which he probably would be with, like, Fritsch and Van Rooyen. Have Van Rooyen higher. Well, you could rotate them, right? You just pinch hit both of them, high and low. That's a good acquisition. I mean, I like it from Melbourne. You don't sound like you're happy.
No, I'm almost in the camp that I just don't think it's a distinct possibility. I don't know why he would leave West Coast. His old man played for West Coast.
Yep, Muddy, premiership player.
So those links as well, and just being a WA boy, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why he'd want to come over to the.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to influence that at all anyway. Like, don't worry about if it's going to happen or not. You want Jake Waterman, surely.
I want Max King more than Jake Waterman.
You want a guy at 24 years old that's getting his PCL repaired, that hasn't really performed.
Yep.
And you just want him on potential.
I think he's got way more upside, personally.
Yeah, be careful with the upside now. DeeBrief. No, like, well, I've seen
Really?
it. I've seen it. I've
Talk
seen
me through it. You know more than me. I'm just.
I've seen it for hundreds of players over the last 15 years. Like, oh, he could be a good player. Oh, that's great. Like, what happens when push comes to shove and you got to perform at AFL level? Like, you got to be able to do it. Like, the potential's. Seen lots of potentially good players play AFL and amount to nothing. So I'd be taking someone that's at least put a season together that's like, right, he can fucking do it. Like, Max King hasn't done that, but in my opinion.
I feel like he probably has at some point.
Yes. I feel like you're probably wrong, Schoey. I feel like that sounds right.
That's essentially what I'm saying. I'm just going to go and have a look. And I'm right, but in some respects, you're right, because over the course of his career, let's go through it. 2020, Max King, 22 goals. Who cares about that year?
No, incorrect. But, like, is that his first year in the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So 2021, he kicked 38. This is the year, 2022, he kicked 52. The annoying thing about Max King, and now I'm going to start doubting myself. He kicked
52 goals, a lot of goals.
Yeah, but he kicked 52-41.
That's a fuckload of fucking shots on goal. Where the fuck was I in that year? Was it 2022? Fuck me.
Straighten up, pal. Like, straighten up. What are you doing, Max?
Mate, that's almost 100 shots on goal. Go and get him, mate, Melbourne.
There we go. So 2023, 28 goals, and then this year, PCL, his season's done. He's kicked 19. So there's a player in there, but I mean, the Jake Waterman thing for me. I just cannot get past, and I need to think about it objectively and get rid of the fact that he's a WA boy, old man, played for the club. I can't get past why he would want to come over to Victoria and leave that.
Yes.
But
Nah.
is he a good player? I've been impressed with his impressed with his physicality. I think he's as strong as an ox, that boy, and he's only 191.
He's 190. Yeah, he'd be like a Jack Darling type size. Like how big is Van Rooyen?
193.
Yeah, I would say they'd be similar types. So maybe a Max King's a better mix. I mean, maybe you've thought about this more than I have, and you have a much more informed opinion. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know.
Again, I feel like I don't have to defend myself, but like Melbourne fans are going, this guy has no idea what he's fucking talking about. And like some point that may be true, that thought, but I do shoot from the hip a fair bit. And my overall, just watching those two guys play, what Jake Waterman's doing this year, I don't feel like Max King's had that year. I don't feel like Max King's had that year where everyone's been like, oh right, this guy's the guy.
Yeah, I've been suitably impressed with what Jake Waterman's done. I just hope we get linked to more players. Like if Logan McDonald comes into the mix, maybe. But there's talk that he might be going to Freo. So who knows? It's all
Logan McDonald ain't going to Freo. No way in the world. There's just no way that they'll do that with Jackson, Darcy,
Tracy
on $1 million, and then what Tracy's been able to do and Jai Amos. So Jai Amos is like their future, and then Josh Tracy is like they've got a guy there now. So you go and add Logan McDonald to that, and like you've already got like Jackson, Amos, and Tracy. They're all like 20, 23 years old, 24 years old. Jackson. So you don't need another young guy there.
Oh, we miss you, Dogger. We miss you, son.
He cut you a flag. Don't be too sad.
I think about him all the time. Melbourne last week, shoots of promise. It was good. It was good for 3 quarters, and then we shut the bed a little bit. Clayton Oliver, it was good to see a return to form. Jack Viney, just doing Jack Viney things. I think he's the toughest player in the comp. I'm very biased. Cozzy Pickett was unbelievable. Trent Rivers, Riv Dog in midfield, awesome. And then Jake Lever coming back into the team and just marshalling things. It looked far more like the Melbourne that we've seen in the previous 3 years. The player I want to touch on with you, Schoey, is Cozzy Pickett. So I've made a few big calls on this podcast, but I truly believe in this one. I think Cozzy Pickett is heir to the throne of Charlie Cameron. He's just turned 23. I think he's got absolutely everything in his locker that you could ever want as a small forward. I want to hear you wax lyrical about him and tell me that you think that prediction, that bold prediction of him becoming the next Charlie Cameron of the competition is fair.
Is that bold?
I don't know. Is it? Or to tell me it's not bold?
I think you're spot on. No, I think you're spot on. I look at the way he plays, and yeah, like I've demonstrated, I'm not a massive stats guy. Like, I was like that as a player as well. Like, you can do whatever you like with stats, but you got to be able to like, look and feel and see what they can do. And like, he just looks like a player that plays on instinct, like more often than not. Now, that can be dangerous if done too much. Like, you can't just let guys run around doing whatever they feel like all the time. And like, we've seen different parts of that, the physical side of his game, which he's got wrong, but like, you certainly won't hear me shouting from the trees about that one. Like, he's just trying to play hard physical football, and yes, he's got it wrong a few times now, but it doesn't bother me too much. Like, he has everything in his tool bag to be able to be a dominating force. One thing we don't see from Charlie Cameron is playing the midfield as much as Cozzy Pickett does. Cozzy Pickett can properly play in the midfield, which Charlie Cameron doesn't do ever.
So he's got another little string to his bow. I'm just so impressed with what he did on Friday night. I think it's pretty simple for him. It's, okay, we know we're not going to get that every single week, but can he be consistent? Can he kick his 2, his 3, and then have one out of the bag where he kicks 5 or 6 in a game? But last week it was unbelievable. What wasn't unbelievable and hasn't been unbelievable for the whole entire year is Harrison Petty. So Harrison Petty has kicked 4 goals, 13 from 13 games.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a defender. That's fucking why, mate. He's a full back. You're playing him in centre forward.
Mental. So we...
Sorry.
No, it's good.
And you didn't want to let him go to Adelaide for like 10 first-round picks. Is that right? Is that my memory serving me correctly?
10 first-rounders, yeah.
I know I'm overestimating it, but but it was a big deal, right?
Potentially, there's some Melbourne supporters who think they're in the know, saying to me, they're like, "Oh, it was never reported as it was never two first rounders." And I'm like, "Stop taking steps back. Like it was probably a future first rounder, and even if it was a future first rounder,
Mate, one of them. Yeah, one of them.
think about
That's a good deal.
think about the predicament that Adelaide are in right now. We could have been death riding the shit out of them. They've had a bad year. We had a great death ride when we got rid of Dogger, and we enjoyed that season last season. So we were doing Freo watch all last season. We're like fucking just riding them like every single game. Whoever Freo were playing, we were barracking for the opposition. It was fantastic.
Right.
We could have done the same thing with the
Yeah.
Crows this year. But Harrison Petty, so it's 4-13 from 13 games. He played one game behind the ball, give him the smallest of outs. So goal kicking accuracy is 19%. It's pretty good going, Harrison.
He's a backman, mate. This is like the West Coast conversation. Expectations after a big off-season deal fall through, you go to another club, Melbourne back him in and say, like, he's our guy, we're going to play him forward. Expectations from fans and from anyone else is going, right, Harrison Petty's going to be here. He's never been that guy. He's never been that guy. In fact, he's a backman. He's a dour backman. He's not even a Stephen May or Jake Lever. He's a dour operator that actually makes them play better when he's in the side. Like, that's all I think of Harrison Petty as. Like, he's the guy, which is someone you absolutely need to let Lever and May go and play their way they play. And now you don't have that. And now he can't play as a forward because he's a backman. But you knew that. So that's just expectations are incorrect and they're different to reality.
Because we threw him forward for one.
Yeah, he kicked 5. Who was that against?
Six.
He kicked 6. He kicked 6
against Richmond.
Oh,
and then he kicked 3 in the first half against North Melbourne the week after in Hobart. And then he did his foot and he was out for the season. And it's so funny looking back. Melbourne have literally, they've hung their collective hats on the fact that he played 1.5 games and he kicked 9 goals. That's what we've done. But
it's a good effort. It's a good effort.
But we didn't think about this, Schoey. We didn't think about the caliber of opposition. Richmond and North.
Correct. Correct.
The only thing about Harrison Petty is he didn't have a preseason. It was interrupted. So I ask you the question as someone who played league footy. If you have an interrupted preseason and you miss a minimum of 2 or 3 months, like how cooked are you for that season? Are you just way, way, way beyond the 8 ball that it's hard for supporters to comprehend? Like, what's that like if you don't get a preseason in?
I only had one season like that. I had knee surgery. Let's try and think when this year was. I had knee surgery. I was in Vegas at one point and it got infected in Vegas. It's like, there you go, kids. It's a nice lesson. It's a nice lesson for you. Don't take it. Yeah. So I had a knee op, but basically I had a bone spur taking out of my knee, and then they repaired some of my ligaments. So it was a decently big surgery, but it wasn't ACL, PCL territory. That got infected in the off season in Vegas. It continued, and I pretty much missed the whole preseason. I'm just trying to think what year it was. I can't pinpoint it. There was a sports scientist at West Coast who used to speak about this, and he said you can miss one. It's the repeat. If you do it repeat years, then you're in big trouble. You can miss one, and you can, it's effectively like a bit of a rest. It's like a rest to your body where you're not getting the big hits that training would usually provide over a preseason, but you can still get the running in and the physical nature. So you still maintain your fitness. But if you miss 2 of those in a row, then you're in trouble. So I think, to answer your question, I think you can miss one and be fine, and you can play. There's lots of players that do that, will miss a whole preseason, play the whole year, and then they're pretty cooked. So they need a big rest. But I don't know where that puts Harrison.
Just trying to pinpoint when it was. I went to your Wikipedia and I noticed you played the 12 games in 18.
Yeah.
And you got lucky to get back in, or you obviously worked hard for it. But
I got lucky.
When did you get back in? Yeah, I didn't. Prelim. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Mr. Quali.
Yeah. So I won't give you the 2018. Yeah, you want a full story?
Yeah, sure.
2018 for me was a fucking roller coaster. So if you're looking at stats or wiki stats, you can see how many round ones I played. I think I played 4 round ones in my 14-year career at West Coast. So I was picked round 1 4 times. Yeah, I played 200. So one, it's a negative. Yes, I understand that. But two, I always got back in the side within round two, round three, round four, somewhere there. So 2018, I actually was picked round one. It was the first year at Optus Stadium, and we spent the whole preseason talking about this is our fortress. No one's ever going to beat us here. Anyone comes over here, we're fucking beating them. And we had Sydney round one. Blah, blah, blah. Get into round one. And like, honestly, round one selection for me was a fucking nightmare. I just used to hate it. What I was talking about, potentially good. So round one teams, there's a lot of potentially good footballers picked round one. A lot of guys that got the potential to go really well. And then round one gets played and all the coaches go, wow, fuck me. The pressure came on. He couldn't fucking survive. Shock. Oh, who are we going to put in? Oh, Schoey will do the job. Yeah, fuck, awesome. So I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm not going to be playing this week. I get picked. But they took all week to figure out who was going to play on Buddy. Anyway, they gave it to Tom Barras. Buddy kicked 4 goals in the first quarter on him.
Yeah.
I got put onto him. He kicked 8 for the game. We lost round one at Optus, and I got dropped, even though I didn't play on him for most of the game.
Yeah.
And like, I won't make this too heavy, but one of my best mates passed away that week as I got dropped, and I like fell off a cliff. Like I almost gave footy up in 2018, and I was back home for a month, and I was all this shit was going on, and then I had my first kid in the middle of the year, and that kind of clicked me back to reality. You would know what that's like, having something bigger and better to live for than yourself.
Amazing.
And I came back into the side, started playing great footy, played a good run of 10 games. I did my hammy against Freo in a derby in round 19. I came back into the team the last 2 rounds of the year, and I was good to go. Finals, this is the year. We'd lost 15. I'd missed my chance there. And then I got a phone call from Simo on the Friday night for the Saturday game, the qualifying final against Collingwood. I thought he was ringing up for matchups because it was a coin flip between me and TB. And he dropped me. And I was just like, worse than when my mate passed away. I've had some other shit happen in my life. It was the worst I've ever been copping that, because I just thought my whole footy life was just like to play in a flag. And I got myself back in the side, and I was playing a role, and then I got dropped, and I was like, well, that's fucking gone. So I was distraught. Got my shit together, went to the qualifying final game, and the only bloke in the team that could have got injured for me to play was Brad Shepherd. And in the first quarter, he did his hammy tendon against Jordan De Goey. And I'm good mates with Shep, and well, I talk about this a lot. Like that's how footy goes. Like he doesn't hold animosity to me. Like clearly he would have liked to play in the grand final, but like injuries happen. Yeah, and I came back in for the prelim, for the bloodbath, I should say, for the bloodbath at Optus Stadium in 2018.
Hey.
Sorry, I had to put that in there.
You should have just skipped it.
I
was there.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
there. I was there in
yeah.
the flesh. The Eagles supporters were
Yeah, I remember you talking about Eagles supporters. Isn't it? Like we haven't
fucking
spoken properly about Melbourne supporters after my Fox Footy call, Melbourne West Coast.
Oh yeah, they weren't happy with you.
Worst in the business.
They were
Melbourne.
not. They were not happy with you. I mean, we're very,
You weren't fucking happy with yourselves, Melbourne fans. What do you want me to fucking do? Cheerlead your side as you get your fucking ass handed to you by a club that's just fucking lost to Hawthorn by 100. They lost to North Melbourne at home. And what, you want me to clap you along while you get your pants pulled down in the middle of Optus Stadium? Again?
No,
Fuck ya.
no, well said. Well said.
Like people come at me going, oh, you fucking cheerleading West Coast. Yeah, they were up by fucking 8 goals and took you to fucking school. What do you want me to do? Cheer on Melbourne and say, brilliant effort, Melbourne. Geez, you guys were good. You weren't. You were shit.
We were so bad.
You were so bad, right? Am I wrong?
No.
I found it hilarious, but I was copping it. Yeah, Melbourne fans were like worse than Collingwood.
Yeah.
Worse than Collingwood.
Yeah,
and Collingwood fans hate me.
And they're very vocal on Twitter, the Melbourne supporters. There's a difference between Melbourne and Collingwood supporters on Twitter, which I've seen. There's a trend.
What is that?
The Melbourne supporters have a better vernacular, a better vocabulary. They've got a vocabulary that is extensive, whereas the vocab for Collingwood supporters is extremely limited.
Yeah, but which makes it worse though?
Yeah, but Melbourne
trying to sound smarter than you are.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just bagging someone who's trying to do their job and calling a game of footy. It's like, oh, go do your best, Melbourne fans. It's all good.
It was hilarious. I actually am really glad you brought this up, because I wasn't going to bring it up, and
this will be good.
It dawned on me, I think, a couple of days ago when I started thinking about having a chat with you, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do a little bit of prep and a few notes, the little bit of pockets of time that I had during the day, and I was like, maybe I'll bring this very subject up. You got fucking hammered, but I think it was just it was an out for them. They needed someone. They needed someone out there in the world to have a go at, and you were their man. Because
That's
of
fine. That's
the
fine.
performance, they were deflecting. So they
It's fine. It's fine, my mate. You know, I yeah, as I said, like I think, what was more embarrassing, my commentary or your performance? It was your performance. So I'm 17 games into my career. Melbourne Footy Club, how long has that been around for? Like a lot longer.
I agree with you. Skaza, by the way, I just saw this new nickname on Wikipedia. Skaza.
Don't believe everything you read on Wikipedia.
Skaza. Did they actually go with Skaza?
Yeah, Scuzz is what my friends call me.
Skaza. Well, my nickname's Dunna. So there you go. The Melbourne supporters don't know about that.
Why do they call you Duna?
It's the dumbest story you've ever heard in your life.
That
We'll save it for a beer.
okay.
It's so dumb. Stupidly dumb. It was a boys' trip. We'll leave it at that.
Brilliant.
Let's kick on and we'll start to wrap up, Schoey, because you're a very busy man.
That's good.
We have to speak about this. So before we get to run home and I get your predictions and whether you think Melbourne are going to make the finals, I just have to speak about the inconsistency with the umpires.
Great.
Got to speak about it. So we actually had a very chat about this when you came on the first time this year.
Yes.
You voodooed us, you prick. But umpiring flashpoints.
Yes.
So this is great. So I don't know if you follow Central Footy on Instagram.
I think I do, yeah.
Central Footy, fantastic. Good
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I absolutely do. Yeah, brilliant.
We love them.
They put something really good up. Like rookie photos of like some of the great rookie photos I've ever seen in my life. Like Adam Cooney, Shannon Hearn was there.
Love
There's
it.
some brilliant ones. Yes.
Love it. Okay, so umpiring flashpoints. This is funny. It feels like a lifetime ago, but the Clark descent free kick in gather round, Blues and Freo.
Yeah.
Debacle. The Draper no free against Adelaide.
Debacle.
Oh, wow. The no advantage to Cameron, Geelong versus Port Adelaide, power win. I can't even remember that one. Rankin too far, Collingwood Adelaide in the
that was bad. That may not have stopped the win, but that was bad.
That was horrid. And then you've got the Swans 50-meter penalty against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs were coming with a rush under the roof. That was huge. They've got the time delay free. Oh, the time delay free. Fuck me. The free Collingwood one.
The umpire. That was disgusting. What? Disgusting.
What?
No one's ever paid that. Matthew James.
I can't believe how many there are. You've got the green downfield, Hawks versus
US.
Yeah,
that was the same weekend. Yep.
Oh my God. Oh, the Yo holding the ball. That was horrific.
That was bad. That was North Melbourne. Yep.
Yeah. And then you got Max King and Mac Andrew Fred.
Yeah, that's off the ball, like called by a second out of class umpire. Disgrace.
St Kilda and Gold Coast, that one. And then the last three, North Melbourne and Collingwood, the no 50-meter penalty.
Yeah.
Haley Scott would have lined up out in front, would have kicked the winning goal. That was disgusting. And then the last two were in the last round, where I honestly do believe this, and I hate saying this because I loathe the Essendon Football Club, but that third quarter, the deliberate decision and the non-Draper free kick with the front on contact against Geelong last week, that was as bad a quarter I've ever seen umpired in my entire existence of watching this game.
And then there was the non-holding the ball call on Stewart, I reckon, too. There was 4 in a row. Yeah, I was calling that game for 6PR. It was bad, real bad.
And Andrew Dillon has the gall and the audacity to come out and tell us the game's never been in a better place. Like,
as I told you, I jumped off Fox Footy straight into this, and I'm just going back to the questions that I was going to be asked. One of them was around footy and umpiring. Where is this? My God,
it's bad. We're in a bad spot. We're in a really bad.
Andrew Dillon says the level of umpiring is as good as it's ever been. What have you made of the officiating and the response from the league? So I didn't get to answer that question. Ran out of time. Babbled on about how shit West Coast are and how good Freo is.
Bigger megaphone. You're on the DeeBrief,
mate.
Move over Fox Footy.
So Andrew Dillon says it's as good as there's ever been. I think there was a certain undercurrent of fans when Laura Kane came out last week or the week before saying you're taking the piss out of us. Like you literally, You're treating us like fools. That comment there, whether he's right, or maybe he's right. You know, maybe we're wrong. Maybe umpiring is as good as it's ever been. Regardless, like it's literally telling the fans, which is there is a definite. It's not even undercurrent anymore. Like there's a definite sway of fans going, "What the fuck is happening with the umpires?" And then the boss comes out and says, "Nah, it's as good as ever been." Like imagine being in a workplace or anywhere where like there's a high majority of people that are going, "This is fucked," and the boss being like, "No, it's not fucked. No, actually, it's the best it's ever been. You can all just fuck off. Just go to the games, pay your money, shut up. I'm running the show here." That's what it comes across as.
You're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. It's disgusting.
I don't think honestly, Adrian, I don't think Duna. I don't think the standard of umpiring is disgusting. I really don't. I think this is another one with expectations and thoughts and how it's all built up. What's disgusting is the handling of it, and like I think the disrespect to fans. So yeah, hopefully, again, once again, I feel like I'm defending myself, but hopefully Melbourne fans can understand that I'm taking the piss half the time I'm speaking, and I'm just a footy fan. Like I don't go for Melbourne, I don't go for West Coast either. It's like I love footy, and so my lens whenever I'm talking in the media is like a footy fan lens, and then like I get the media hat on and do all that bullshit. But like it's just I'm just watching footy and like calling it how it is, how I see it anyway. Might not be how it is, just how I see it. The umpiring hasn't been like it's been inconsistent at best. So to come out as the boss and say, "Nah, it's good, it's great. In fact, never been better." Shove it up your ass. That's what he's telling fans. And I would rightfully think if you're a fan, you can say the same back and say, "Oh fuck you, I'm not paying you my money anymore."
The only problem is people will continue to go. They're
And
getting,
they know that. They know that.
they know they're getting massive crowds. People aren't backing out. People are investing more.
Mm.
So that's the problem. Well said. I'm not going to add anything to that. Before we do wrap up, who's going to be in the granny this year?
I won't be boring and say Carlton Sydney because that would be boring. Um, I did a ladder predictor the other day.
And Squiggle?
Do you want me to tell you like a couple of highlights from that?
Is it the Squiggle AFL ladder predictor?
Yeah. Is that what it is? Is it Squiggle?
Yeah, Squiggle. Love Squiggle.
Didn't have Collingwood in the top 8. I can tell you that. Free.
They lose to the Dons this week, or do they beat them?
Yeah, see, like I'm not that hot on Essendon either, but I think Collingwood beat them, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for us.
You know what's more
Uh,
unfortunate? Why
what?
have you got Collingwood players on your shelf?
Yeah.
Other side. What is that?
Mate, it's the Dacos brothers, mate. They can't even have their own bobbleheads. They've fucking got a joint bobblehead. It's a piss take, like most of the things in my life. Look at these idiots. Mate, they're on the same bobblehead. Are you kidding me? Where's Peter? Bring back Peter Dacos. I'm surprised he's not putting his head over one of the shoulders. Seriously.
There is nothing worse in football than the Channel 7 and any of the commentary teams panning to the box.
Doesn't happen. That doesn't happen when I'm working. All right. Melbourne. Would you like me to tell you where I have?
Nah, I'm gonna do so. No. I'm gonna wait. You just
Okay.
got Granny. Give me your Granny.
Okay. Granny. Well, this says Sydney and Carlton, but I'm going to say Freo. I'm going to say Freo make the granny, but lose to Sydney. Yeah, we just saw the grand final replay.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And it'll be funny as fuck because no Melbourne teams in the grand final.
Won't be funny as fuck for me. I don't like Sydney for many reasons. Let's get stuck into our run home. So I'm going to run through our remaining games.
Okay.
And all I'm looking for you to do is just give us a win-loss.
Right.
We're going to start with round 17, West Coast at the G.
Win. Yeah, win.
Round 18, Essendon at the MCG.
That's a loss. It's a disappointing loss. It's a disappointing loss, I know, but that's what happens.
An honourable loss, as they like to say. Round 19, Fremantle away.
That's Freo win, yeah. It's a loss to you.
Yes, to be expected. Round 20, GWS at the G.
Big game. Like proper big game. And I've got GWS knocking you off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't bother waiting.
I'm looking. I've already done this. I'm actually staying true to my word and looking at what I picked here. Yeah.
Western Bulldogs the week after, under the roof at Marvel.
Friday night, big game. Western Bulldogs. I'm really sorry, and I'm not trying to talk you up or down. I did this 3 days ago, so I'm just going with what I thought then.
Oh God. Port Adelaide. We'll get a good pick out of this. That's all right. Port Adelaide at the G the week after. That's a W.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Melbourne.
W. Surely.
Big Melbourne.
And
Yeah.
then the last two rounds, Gold Coast away,
Loss.
Collingwood at the G in the final round.
That's also a loss.
You've got us winning 2 of our last 8.
I do. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I have your 13th on the ladder to finish the season.
I mean, we're 12th at the moment, so.
Well, like I have your 13th, but the points of this year, like you're you only 2 games out of 8th.
Plus percentage. So we're essentially.
Or do you think? Okay, can I ask you the questions? Like,
Yeah. I've got mine right in front of me as well.
who did you have beating that I didn't? Who you going
West
to beat?
Coast, Essendon,
Yes, you
lose
beat
to
Essendon.
Freo, lose to Freo,
Yep.
beat the Giants,
Yeah.
lose to Doggies,
Yeah.
beat Port, and then it comes down to winning one of the last 2 games to make finals against Gold Coast and Collingwood.
So you've only got you winning 4 of the last 8.
I've got us winning 4 of 6 before we get to the last 2. I haven't really made up my mind about the last 2.
Come on now.
And do you know why I haven't made up my mind? Gold Coast don't lose at home.
Yeah, you're not winning. Yeah, that's my point. You're not winning. You've got 4 of 8 because you're not winning against Gold Coast at home, and then you're not beating Collingwood at the G in the last round.
Do you realise what happened in 2017?
Yeah, so you keep telling me this.
You
What
know
happened?
this. You know this.
What happened?
2017, we lost to Collingwood in the final game of the season at the G. We only had to win to make finals. And then you bastards against Adelaide in the very final game of that round pinched our spot.
Yeah, so that was bad for you as well because that was the last ever game at Subiaco Oval. So it was like the history of Western Australia on that game. And Lewis Jetta ripped your hearts out. That's who did it.
So that's why there's so much trepidation about that round 24 clash against Collingwood.
You won't be winning it. So you've got 4 of 8. I've got 2 of 8. So we're about the same. Let's call it 3 then. Let's be friends. You're winning 3 of the last 8.
I'll call it 4. We'll call it 4, and we'll miss on percentage, and that'll be the story of Melbourne's season. Miss on percentage, and we'll probably finish 9th or 10th. Anyway, look, love the game, love the club. Fuck. Shit. That killed me. What a place to end. Oh, before we end, let's maybe try and end on a high.
Yep.
So the most unbearable of grand final victories would have to be Carlton. They'd have to be the most unbearable. Oh, Collingwood and Carlton.
Yeah, Collingwood ranked 1 for mine. Like seeing Collingwood go to back would probably end a few.
So knowing Melbourne aren't going to be there, because we won't be there. We're not going to win a flag this year. It's pretty bloody obvious.
Reverse psychology, I like it.
No, we're not going to win it. Who are we on? I'm on the Dockers. So you're probably the same. I'm team Freo. I'm hoping Freo can do all Victorians a favour. So that's me.
I'll give you 3. I'll give you Dockers, and they're my 2 teams, GWS and Hawthorn. They're I think Hawks play finals. Yeah.
Wow.
Mate, they're playing finals footy. So like all the guys that do the stats, right? As I said, I'm not a big man. They're playing finals footy. Like their numbers say they're a top 8 side. They're a top 4 side. So they keep winning. Giants sort their shit out. Giants could easily finish 14th. Like they could just completely fall in a heap. But they kind of back in their culture in, which is probably a dumb idea.
They've lost their identity. I just don't know who GWS are at the moment, honestly.
It's a bit like Melbourne.
We'll see what happens in the run home. We'll see what happens. Schoey, Skaza, it's been good.
Thanks, Donna.
Been really good, actually. I appreciate it. I know you've had a big day, and it's always a little bit tricky when you've got young ones in your household, and I'm about to have a second in 3 days, so wish me luck.
You're doing a great job, mate, and thanks for having it as a part of the pod. Hopefully, the audience isn't sick of me. I don't know. Do I love Melbourne? No. Do I hate them? No, I don't. So I think that's a lovely place to live. You're not Collingwood to me. You're not the Giants.
Are you on the commentary for that Freo away game?
Freo Melbourne?
Yeah.
What round is that?
It's round 19. Will you be on that one?
Let's get a live update for my calendar.
Yeah,
hang on a second.
I'm interested.
What date is it?
It is July 21. I'm really intrigued because I want to see if there's a change in your tone.
So is that Sunday, Freo v Melbourne?
Yeah, blockbuster.
July 21st?
Yes.
I'm not on that call.
No, because it's Channel 7, I reckon. It's a 3:20 game.
So, I mean, you didn't like my call. Enjoy Channel 7.
It's fucking horrific.
Correct.
It's horrific.
Brilliant, mate. Again, appreciate it. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. Thank you all.
Thank you, mate. You did a brilliant job.
RIP Angus.